Barry, how in the world are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Doyle. How are you?
Good. You're coming in loud and clear.
Oh, fantastic.
Amazing time uh, that we're having on this Smart Share program, and it wouldn't be complete without you. You and I have been friends for a long time. One of the things I love about you is that you're always there to help, and you and I have been in communication since day one about what to do about all this stuff. And I don't know if you heard our friend Larry talking about you, but he said you were bored. Is did you actually have time to be bored during this?
No, I searched out Courtney. How can you be bored with that guy? What a great
Exactly.
presentation. His whole demeanor of who he is literally represents the best of our industry, Doyle, doesn't it? I mean,
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
that passion, it's that positivity, and you can't help but be drawn to him. Courtney, great job, man.
You're absolutely spot on, Barry. I agree with you. Well, today you're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of disinfection. So I'm going to get out of your way and let you take over the thing and look forward to speaking with you for a second at the end. Thanks, Barry. Let's get.
Hey, Doyle, thank you very much. Hey, welcome everybody, and again, congratulations, HydraMaster. 50 years of serving and the cleaning and restoration community. That speaks highly of a wonderful and successful organization. So, thanks for everything that you do. But as Doyle mentioned, my talk is on the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to antimicrobials, the standards, the laws, but I need to start off and preface and say this is a non legal look, everyone. I'm not a lawyer, or as I like to describe, a lawyer and fungus are one of the same, a simple class of lower plants that have to live off of decaying or decomposing organic matter. My brother in law is a lawyer. He likes that definition. But this is a non legal look at these, not to be seen as replacement, nor construed as legal advice that would be given by an attorney. So, very important that I state that my presentation. And listen, I hope you all stay on because I do have some giveaways we're going to be doing for those that are on the program. You're going to get some needed papers that right now many of you are probably not using because you might not have known they are needed. And I don't want any of my family members getting hurt out there. And when I say that, extend that not only from our industry, but the very people you serve, that your heart goes out in water damage, dealing with a pandemic. Whatever we're doing to serve the community, we want to make sure no one gets hurt. And I think Larry did say an awful lot of good things there, and especially trying to figure out now that this slapped us COVID-19, and in our zeal to jump out and try to help, what's the long-term effects for the things we've been doing? And this is something I've been studying quite a bit. In fact, you probably saw this if you, again, listen to Courtney's advice about Facebook and the various mediums out there that exist where people get lots of their information. But in Texas, a company was applying antimicrobial biocides in a school district, charged $1.4 million for the district with a 90-day guarantee that they won't have a COVID, that it'll be COVID free for 90 days. Well, the reporter out there got a hold of Siri, John Downey, and Dr. Eugene Cole, executive director, and or executive director John Downey, excuse me, and Dr. Eugene Cole, and they started digging deep into what these products are and so on. But as Doyle said, there's been a group of us, Doyle, Bill, Jim, and I'll leave their last names out because there's a lot of Bills and Jims, but Doyle, sorry, dude, there's not many very Doyles or Doles, okay, in our industry. So everybody knows you. But we would on a weekly basis, everyone doing their research, pulling our heads together, along with the great work that ICRC, RIA, AIHA, and all the organizations did at creating the white papers and Brandon Burton and the others to try to help our industry grab a hold of a runaway train. But I think the thing that upset me the most was I would go on Facebook and I would hear, I mean, the forums can be great education. I mean, Courtney's a good example. But when you go to a forum, there's also, it's a scary time because everyone has an equal podium to speak. And you can have a brand new person coming in with an absolute honest, they want to know question. And everybody now gives their opinion, whether it's right or wrong. You're going to hear what they think. And that's a scary thought if you think about it with new people coming in. So with COVID happening, people were coming in and saying, hey, what's that machine you're using? Well, that's a ULV fogger. It's an electrostatic sprayer. And those suits, where do you get them? And what's that product called? Now immediately they're in business. They have absolutely no education whatsoever in what they're doing. They're applying a pesticide, but they're not aware of that. They're illegal in every part of the world with OSHA, number one. All this facial hair, they got a respirator that's not working. They have people in the room while they're spraying, and they've captured it on the internet. Of all places to put mistakes is on the internet, where it's there forever. I mean, if they got in trouble, a smart lawyer is going to investigate everything your company has done and pull that in. So, you know, if any of you are old enough, you remember a magazine, Clean Facts magazine, and they used to have the great debate in Clean Facts magazine. And once there was a gentleman, Pete Consigli. Now, you've got to be pretty old to know who Pete Consigli is. He was the only person I know that could take both sides of the debate and argue with himself. Well, I kind of feel like Pete Consigli right now. I never thought in my entire life, and if you're hearing some noises in the background, that is my hearing aids giving a sound that I have a phone call coming in. Don't these people know? Anyway, I never thought in my entire lifetime I would ever debate Dr. Eugene Cole, ever. Let me read something he wrote in R&R magazine, December 23, 2020. Now remember, my name is Pete Consigli. I'm on one side of the case, but you're going to see that I absolutely agree with Dr. Eugene Cole. A recent article in The Atlantic, a literary and culture magazine, referred to the current focus on cleaning and disinfection as hygiene theater. The author suggested that the focus or obsession on disinfection, what he calls risk reduction rituals, only serves to make us feel better, but don't actually do much to reduce risk. And Dr. Cole said he should be thankful that healthcare facilities don't take that approach. And I think Dr. Cole, because he's been such an asset to our industry, many of you don't know this, but S500, the first edition back in 1999, stemmed from a sewage paper that was written much, much earlier. 94 was our first standard in carpet cleaning, 99 S500. Dr. Cole has been working within the IRCRC as an expert, a MIP, material interested party, an expert in our industry, and has donated so much of his life to it. And he feels so strong, as Dr. Michael Berry also felt so strong about the power and what we do in our industry. And he was offended that this person could think this. Well, I have to agree with the reporter from The Atlantic. And it was self-induced by our industry. We have to look, and if we're going to be honest with ourselves, our industry looked like a bunch of yo-yos out there, for lack of better terms. We had people grabbing a chemical, grabbing a machine, going into people's homes, fogging the bejeebers out of it with the understanding that we're making your home safe. And they had no clue what they were doing. Yet people saw our industry that day. So you can't, sometimes perception is the truth, and the perception was the truth. And then we saw overseas people in complete suits fogging up sidewalks and all, and I'm sure that was going to be very helpful. Well, in his final word, Dr. Eugene Cole, he said there are cleaning and disinfection programs that are excessive. Absolutely. Too often we've seen images in the media of cleaners heavily clad in spacesuits needlessly spraying disinfectant along sidewalks and streets. However, surface cleaning and disinfection, let me say this again, surface cleaning and disinfection play an absolutely critical role in stopping the chain of infection. It's up to us to make sure that all stakeholders understand its importance in controlling all pathogens. That's not theater. That's doing our job. Dr. Cole, thank you for all those years. But again, I had to disagree with you initially to say it was our industry that made ourselves look foolish in the public. So my topic is going to be about antimicrobials, their use, and so on. So if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of pop into S500, which is a procedurally based, consensus-based standard, as we know. And in 7.1, it states it's important to recognize that not all water intrusions warrant the use of antimicrobial biocides. So the companies that automatically spray no matter what, well, I kind of equate that to, gee, I'm not feeling good. Then take penicillin every day, whether you need it or not. I'm sure that'll work and that's what you need. No. It's important for restorers to evaluate whether antimicrobial biocides are appropriate. In fact, it further states when there's a category 1 water intrusion that is not changed in category, the use of antimicrobial biocides is generally not warranted. It doesn't say it isn't warranted, but you need to have a real good reason why. See, there are two trigger words in a standard, shall and should. Both are standard of care. In other words, all the MIPS that were involved in writing the standard, which include the insurance industry, okay, David Dibdahl is a risk manager. He was on the main committee representing the insurance side. Everyone that would be affected by that standard gave their input. Well, to have something say it shall be done or should be done, we had to have all agreement and sign that, yeah, we don't necessarily fully agree with it, but with consensus, the heart of consensus, we will agree with that statement. Well, do you need to clean before you apply an antimicrobial? Well, here's another statement. Many antimicrobial biocides are deactivated by organic matter in water or on surfaces. Therefore, pre-cleaning is an essential first step. So those going in just fogging everything, they thought in their heart they were doing good, but in essence, they weren't. And the biggest thing was they weren't even looking at the label directions. They might have looked at the front of the bottle. That's called marketing candy, but they didn't look at the most important part of the bottle, which was the back. In fact, 7.3 application methods, restore shall, and that's not only standard of care. If you don't do a shall, you violated some sort of law on top of it. That's what that word means in standards. Restorers shall apply only federal, state, government registered or authorized antimicrobial biocides and shall use them according to label directions. In fact, every EPA registered bottle has to have on their label this statement. It is a violation of federal law to use this product in a manner inconsistent with the label. So if the label says mix 2 ounces to a gallon of water, and your definition of 2 ounces is glug 1, glug 2, because we don't seem to know what a measuring cup is, or you look and you say, well, this really looks gross, we better up the dilution. Folks, you not only poison the environment so that people might not be able to live with good health in that environment, you violated not local, not state, not provincial, but federal law. You violated federal law. So what I want to do right now is, again, and as I said, I got some freebies for all of you. It looks like we have like 92 people on the call. Fantastic. I've got a form that probably many of you are not even filling out, which could be actually you're not being legal. And I want to protect my family members in the industry. I've done an awful lot of research, and I want to share that research with you, okay? So I'm going to take right now some of the terms that we use so that you can understand why these are all under the jurisdiction of the EPA's FIFRA division, the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, Rodenticide Act, fungus, living organism. Thus, by the purest of definitions, if you kill an organism, you've eliminated life. Thus, you've exterminated life, you're an exterminator. And there are states that require you to have a license or a certification to apply these products. Do all of you know which state it is or states? It took me 3 months, as Larry and Doyle said, I was bored. It took me 3 months to do what every WRT instructor tells their class. In order to find out if your state requires an antimicrobial license or certificate, you have to contact the agricultural department of your state. Well, it took 3 months. I have all 56 locations. You're going 56, all 50 states, plus the District of Columbia, plus the 5 territories of the United States, Puerto Rico, Guam, Virgin Islands. I have the answer to each one. I don't even think the agricultural department federally has this answer, okay? But I do. And some of you are going to be leaving with your state's answers. All of you are going to be leaving with a form that I'm going to suggest you start filling out. Every job, whether it's water damage or cleaning, where you're applying an antimicrobial, you begin to fill this form out. Why? You know, Larry talked about talking to David Dibdahl, and David is a risk manager. And I've talked to Ed Cross, probably who knows more about this restoration industry than any other legal. He was part of the S500, S520 team. So he knows the standard inside out. He only represents restoration companies. Had great discussions with these two gentlemen, and we all agree. We've only seen the tip of the iceberg of legality when it comes to everything that's going on right now. You know, Larry brought out an important question. What's going to be the residual of this? Right now, if you listen to HydraMaster, Doyle did a presentation on how some of our new chemistry with Shaw Industries testing might actually be affecting some of the materials in a residue and affecting the material within the building. Well, you know what? That's important, but I think to me, what's more important is human health. What's happening to the people in that building? So we've got to be very careful. So let me do this next part of my presentation. Let me go over some terms so that you might be able to understand what some of these terms mean. And if you already know it, hey, just take it as a reinforcement. Okay, hopefully I don't bore you to death. So antimicrobial literally means against microorganisms. It's anti-microbes. A substance, mechanism, or condition that inhibits the growth or existence of an organism. It's a general term used to describe various compounds often built into consumer products and materials that have the ability to limit, control, or stop the growth of microorganisms, fungi, bacteria, viruses, and other organisms. A good example would be infants' toys that say treated with microban. Okay, now please don't think, again, I have to be careful. Wow, I can buy microban. It's now called X580. Oh, boy, the name's not with me right now. But anyway, it used to be microban. I can spray the toys with this, it'll be okay. No, it's not sprayed on the toys. When the plastic's being extruded to create the toy, it is literally mixed in with the crystalline structure of the plastic, so it becomes part of the plastic. Because kids, they always put things to the mouth. They're going to put the toys to the mouth, and if you spray it on, they might be able to transfer and actually lick the antimicrobial. And if you read the safety data sheet, that might not actually be a good thing to be doing. Okay, so basically that's what that term means. Now, biocide, the suffix side means to kill. And what does it kill? It kills whatever's in the prefix. The prefix bio means life. So a biocide kills life. Mildicide kills mildew. And Doyle knows my wife, Carol. If I get her mad enough, she wants to apply a bariocide. Guess what she wants to do? Okay, so a biocide is any poison that kills both pathogenic, and that word simply means disease causing, and non-pathogenic living organism. The term is used commonly within the water damage industry to describe any agent that kills microorganisms or controls their amplification, their growth, their ability to grow, including bacteria, mold, slime, fungi. Now, the scariest word that we often read is the word sterile or sterilize. It reminds me of the movie I Am Legend. They're dead. They're all dead. Yeah, it's 100% kill rate. It's an antimicrobial designed to destroy or eliminate all forms of microbial life, including fungi, virus, and all their forms of bacteria and their spores. So if you think of a sterilizer, if you were sterile, well, you can't have babies. Boy, is that a tough one. And can I advise, again, non-legal definition, but never in your paperwork use the word sterile. I mean, if you're in court, I can hear the opposing attorney now saying, would you please provide the court the test results you had performed to prove you killed to the needed 100% rate? Oh, we didn't have it done. Okay, well, you just said you did. Now, how about disinfect? This is actually another scary word that I don't advise you using your paperwork, but again, it's non-legal. Any chemical or physical process used on objects that destroys more than 99.9% of microorganisms capable of causing human disease. See, there's numbers attached to those words, aren't there? 100%, 99 plus. That's why those are scary words. Now, sporicide, a disinfectant that controls the spores of specified microorganism when used according to label directions. A sanitizer, this is less benign. An agent that reduces the number of bacteria contaminants to safe levels as judged by public health requirements. So there's no number attached to that one. If I wash my hands, I think I've reduced the number of contaminants. In fact, I did a program once that I did some research starting in 2013. And when we used to travel doing schools, McCarran Airport in Vegas, at the bottom of the escalator used to be an antibacterial soap dispenser. And I watched this woman go down to the bottom of the escalator. She went right over to it. She did this, and reading body language, you could sense she was saying, "I feel so clean." Yeah, right. Guess what you did, Mrs.? Yes, you did kill the organisms, but all the dead bodies are still on your hands. Let's go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Finger licking good. Now, soap and water would remove them. So if you read the World Health Organization and CDC, they prefer you use soap and water. But if you don't have access to soap and water, now let's rely on the antibacterials that we have in our industry. Because for a while there, the FDA and the CDC, since the people that made the products couldn't prove that they were more effective than hand soap at preventing illness, you could no longer say that they were what they were, and they would be removed off of shelves. But they're back again. Why? Because of COVID. And are you noticing that COVID is mutating? There's a group of us that said, you watch. See, Jurassic Park was a pretty good movie. It said life will find a way. Life wants to live, and organisms will mutate to live. So I sure hope we can keep up with the cleaning needed, followed by a product that will still be effective against the new forms of what we're attempting to help society with at this point. Same with our shots we're getting. Right now, everyone's still crossing their fingers that as they mutate, you see, if you wound an organism, you don't kill it. Sometimes it can resist the very thing that wounded it. And we're beginning to create superbugs. And some microbiologists are saying, if we're not careful with the way we handle our industry and others, we could become the next dinosaur on the earth. We've just made them so powerful, we have nothing we can use. There's about 8 items that the CDC doesn't know what to do with yet. Whew, boy. Anyway, let's go to growth inhibitors. These are products used to treat surfaces or be incorporated into materials to suppress or retard future vegetative, bacterial, and fungal growth under moist conditions. Okay. Fungistat, if the suffix means stat, it means to limit or control. Side means to kill. So if you've ever read your paint can labels, you can tell I do have a Boring Life Doyle. If you ever read those paint can labels, one of the wettest rooms of your home is a bathroom. You take a shower. Based upon dew point temperatures, you have now fog on your mirror, okay, which, by the way, don't wipe it, you just smear it. Take some heated airflow. Jeremy Breach knew what he was talking about. Energy to the water, right? To the water, well, it's on the mirror, just put the energy to the water, thermal energy, I might add, and with some airflow, and cause it to evaporate. Well, many of our paints have a mildestat mixed in with the paint. So when you paint the bathroom wall, spores are everywhere. The ubiquitous, that's a 35-cent word that means everywhere. In fact, it's on the human body. I love it when a homeowner says, I hope I don't have any mold in my house. Ma'am, get over it. It's on you too. Okay, yeah, it's everywhere. But when the environment is right for them, and depending upon how much water activity that specific fungi needs, see, there's xerophilic, mesophilic, hydrophilic molds. Depending if you give them enough moisture, they wake up from a dormant state. They go, man, that was a good sleep. I'm hungry. And you look good. Yeah, because they want to have babies. And some of them are asexual, which sounds very boring to me right now. But when you paint the wall with a mildestat, that limits ability for mold to grow on its favorite food paper, because it basically makes it taste lousy if you want to humanize what's going on here. Okay. Now, every one of those words fall under pesticide, a substance intended to control, and remember some of the words I use, prevent the growth of or kill a pest, except for those found on or in humans or animals. Included are insecticides, rodenticides, herbicides, bactericides, fungicides, virucides. You should now understand why our antimicrobials are regulated by the EPA under the FIFA division, under the auspices of the agricultural department within each state. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's talk about the labels now, which is where I believe our industry falls down. Now, those that go to schools and the instructors do a really good job of emphasizing the importance of reading labels. Hey, we got an army of fantastic professionals in our industry, okay? You're the ones that Dr. Eugene Cole is discussing and talking about. But the people coming in that think a product is a product and, hey, I know how to use that. I got a sprayer. By the way, if you do it this way, go to a forum. You'll often hear people, we do it this way, okay? Or somebody says, hey, how do you apply this product? Everybody and their uncle says, this is what we do. I got on once and I said, the answer to your question is on the label. Read the label. Because if you follow the well-meaning directions of people on the form right now, and it's not on the label, they just told you to violate federal law. I don't think that's a good way to do this. So I had fun. My wife is in the local Rotary Club. And when COVID hit all of us, they wanted me to do a presentation on it. So I asked Carol in our house to grab every bottle that she thought was a disinfectant, okay? Every bottle. Well, she pulled out 12 items, all right? And so let's take these in pairs so you can see where they are. Okay, how about this? Product 1 and 2. Ammonia, all-purpose cleaner ammonia, lemon scent. Number 2, stain remover and color booster, Clorox 2. How about products 3 and 4? Clorox concentrated and Clorox disinfecting bleach. How about these, 5 and 6? Clorox toilet bowl cleaner, cleaning bleach gel. How about Febreze Air Mediterranean? 7 and 8, Lysol disinfectant spray, Lysol disinfecting wipes. 9 and 10, Lysol brand New Day Cleaning Toilet Bowl Cleaner. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, but what a lot of words. How about Lysol Kitchen Pro Antibacterial Cleaner? And let's go to the last 2. Method Anti-Bac Toilet Antibacterial Toilet Cleaner. And number 12, Signature Home All-Purpose Cleaner with bleach. Well, let me grab these 2 products right here, okay? And hopefully, let me grab a hold of this one the way I want to. All right, take a look at these. Are both of these disinfectants? Are neither disinfectants? Is one and not the other? My wife thought they were both disinfectants. They're not. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? Doyle is a whiz in marketing. When Doyle worked with Steamway International back in Denver, Colorado, this is where Doyle and I met. I mean, we're talking years and years ago. Both of ours were probably 50 years younger now that HydraMaster is having their 50th year. And so we've known each other forever. Well, Doyle is an unbelievable marketing genius, okay? One of his fortes is in marketing. I'm just so envious that he can do that so well. I'm an expert in 4 things. I'm an expert in water damage restoration. I'm an expert in carpet repair and carpet installation. I'm an expert in teaching. I'm an expert getting my wife mad. Okay, those are my 4 areas of expertise. Beyond that, don't call me. I'm going to send you somewhere else. So here's what marketers know. Let's talk about the front of the label. Well, marketers know that shape, color, font size, words you use will attract the eye. And if you think about going down a grocery store, and by the way, make sure you follow that arrow, okay? You've got hundreds of products on a shelf. Well, what does a marketer want you to do? Hey, see me, I'm over here. See me, don't look at them, see me. So what do? They put a lot of attention on the front of that. Color, shape. Hey, let's take a look at that Lysol Kitchen Pro all the way to the left. No harsh chemical residue. Ooh, work candy. I need that. Yep. How about Dawn? 2 times grease cleaning power. Oh, if you're a male, your testosterone's just surging. Oh, yeah, 2 times, okay. Oh, and then Lysol says, oh, yeah, we're 3 times stronger. We clean more, use less, okay? Economy. But 2 of these are disinfectants. 1 is not. The Lysol and the Lysol are. The Dawn is not. However, a person that might not have education, and I don't say that in a negative way, specificity education of our industry. You see, Dawn says antibacterial, antibacteria, it's against bacteria. Hey, that must be a disinfectant, says a homeowner, okay? No, what you need to look for is 99.9, or the word disinfect on the label. But this is what drives me crazy, okay? And I want it to drive you crazy enough that you contact every manufacturer that you can that produces products and say, I know you love your marketing candy in the front, but the words in the back are the most important words we need in order to apply this correctly. Why do you make them so small? You make it so hard to read. We might not actually be using your product correctly, where it doesn't do now what you promised it would, okay? So I'm going to go past this slide. I'm looking at my time saying I want to go somewhere else with this. So if you want to know whether the product is going to be valuable for COVID, as all the papers have said, you want to make sure it's on the end list. In the back of the bottle, every EPA registered product has to have an EPA registration number. And in the case of these Lysol wipes, it's number 777-114. Now, as Courtney would say, let's get on the internet. And here is the website you want to go to, www.epa.gov, pesticide-registration/list-N-disinfectants use against SARS-CoV-2. You're going to get to this page. Now on that page, you're going to search and you're going to type in that 777- number of the product you're looking at. And bam, it says, yes, I have been approved by the EPA to be used if you're going to be doing any sort of work with the focus on COVID-19, COVID-2. And the funny thing is, since it's a novel virus and still novel and it's still mutating, the best knowledge they have is these products work with COVID-2, kind of its string of related groups that, you've got parents and they have parents. Well, we know it worked with this group here, so the assumption is going to be it'll work here too. But I think Dr. Eugene Cole, because the fatty deposits of the COVID, one of the best things we can do is detergent and water. Okay, we know it can dissolve through fat. We do it all the time. I tried to lose weight and I spread stuff all over me, detergent, but it didn't seem to work. I think my body works differently than that. However, cleaning is the first defense, followed by the application of a disinfectant, because there are surfaces you can't disinfect, like carpet. If you've ever said that you're disinfecting a carpet, quite frankly, you're not telling the truth. There's only one product that will disinfect a carpet. It's called fire. If you burn the carpet, it will be disinfected. Heck of a burn test though, wasn't it? Okay. Because you can't control how much organic load remains in a carpet. And I know this to be a fact. I was the exams chair for a year and a half with the IRCRC. During that tenure, it was brought to my attention. We had a question in one of our water exams that was in direct violation of FIFA law. Back then, our attorney was Mark Hansen. Some of you remember Mark. He was literally the IRCRC president so many years. He loved the organization so much. We relied on his wisdom so much. But we had to call every water instructor and say, with a black magic marker, black out question number X, don't cite it, don't state it. And he and I had to do an awful lot of research on FIFA law. So this whole thing of focus for me with these products dates way back when. Okay, so hey, here's that statement I was talking about. Violation of federal law to use a product in a manner inconsistent with the label. Then why do you make it so difficult to read? So here's where we fall apart in our industry. When you don't read the directions and you don't apply it correctly, not only are you violating federal law, you might not be doing what the product is capable of doing. So let's take a look at Clorox disinfecting bleach. By the way, this is a disinfectant. So I'm going to read very carefully. And can I suggest in your companies, what you want to do, OSHA requires this, by the way. If you have employees, you're supposed to have regular safety training. So here's an idea of a safety training I want you to do. I want you to have all your members in the room. By the way, they have to sign the book. They are in that room. And here's the topic we're covering. You have to have an outline, because OSHA at any time can come in and check. And do you have a safety program? Yes, sir, we do. May I see your log? Yes. And we covered this. Here was the topics. And these were the people that were here. Okay. So if this was one of your products, and I'm just trying to be generic here, So mixing instructions for Clorox disinfecting bleach, disinfecting and deodorizing hard, non-porous surfaces. Okay. Yes, you can disinfect hard, non-porous surfaces. Now notice what it says, pre-wash surface. It doesn't say go in with a fogger or an electric static sprayer, just start spraying me. No, pre-wash surfaces. I have to get some of their organic load off, or it might render that sodium hypochlorite useless. Now it tells you to mop or wipe with bleach solution. So they're giving you very direct, specific directions of how to apply it. It didn't say spray it. In fact, there was a hotel, Doyle, I don't know if you remember reading this. There was a hotel that the maintenance staff decided they were going to be chemists, and they mixed Clorox and ammonia because they thought they'd have better cleaning power. And they did, after all the ambulances left with all these people, creating ammonium chloride compounds, a deadly gas. Don't be a bathroom chemist, folks. Let the chemist do that. So pre-wash surfaces, mop or wipe with bleach solution. Now, here's another piece we've got. Allow solution to contact surface for at least 5 minutes. That's called dwell time. The soldiers, or the movie Stripes, boom, chakalaka, like a boom, soldiers, okay, yeah, they have to be able to fight these things for at least 5 minutes. Then it tells you to rinse well and air dry. I don't know about you. Hey, John Braun, how are you, buddy? I don't know about you. When I used to travel, I had to eat out every day. Now that I'm home, man, I love it. My wife's a great cooker. She loves cooking. I love eating. It's a marriage made in heaven. Doyle, come on over. But if you've ever watched somebody bust a table down in a restaurant, you know, there's that 5-minute rule or 5-second rule. If the food falls, you go 5 seconds. No, a restaurant, if the food's even thinking of falling off your fork, don't eat it, okay? First of all, the menu is the dirtiest thing in a restaurant. But the second dirtiest thing is the very thing you're eating off of, which is the table. I mean, watch them bust a table down. Seriously, they're coming in from 50 yards spraying, probably a 10% solution of sodium hypochlorite and water. They take the dishes off. They take the same rag they've been using all day on every table, on every seat, including the seat with a baby with a messy diaper, and they wipe your table. Absolutely no dwell time, no 5-minute surface time. They would have been better off with a 2-bucket system of soap and water to clean the table. But let's go to this one, the Lysol wipes. Now listen to this. To sanitize/disinfect. Okay, to reduce or reach 99%. Pre-clean surface, there it is again. And Jim Pemberton, Bill Yaden, Doyle, a group of us, we kept harping on that. Okay, Doyle, deep clean. We got to clean, you got to remove. Then it says, use enough fresh wipes to thoroughly wet surface. Okay. Surface must remain wet for the entire contact time. Now, to reach the level of sanitize, allow to remain wet for 10 seconds. I can do that. Get this one. To disinfect, allow to remain wet for 4 minutes. Have any of you ever, with a Lysol wipe, tried to keep something wet for 4 minutes? Then it says, not rinse. It says, allow surface to air dry. Toss dirty wipes away. So again, one method doesn't cover all. What I want to bring across, everyone, is you've got to make sure you read past the marketing candy, find out specifically as a professional what we need to do, how to properly apply it, because guys, your liability is on the line. It is on the line. Customers' right to know, 13.4.2 S500. Restorers should brief customers before antimicrobials are applied. This can include providing customers with a product information label and obtaining informed consent and product use in writing. If a customer requests the product label or safety data sheet, it shall, law, be provided. But here's something you might have not seen or read that is in the standard. Written documentation should, that's a trigger word, it means that standard of care, be maintained for each antimicrobial biocide application, the type, the application method, the time, the quantity, and location. So Janelle, if you don't mind, in the chat box, could you put up the site where people can download this on the HydraMaster site? I want to give you a free form, everyone, and you could put your company name on it, whatever you want to do with it. But when you apply a pesticide legally, you have to have documentation of all this stuff about that product: customer's name, the date, the address. Now, this sheet that I've got here for you also is a good reminder of some of the things you also need to make sure you've done on that job. Consent to apply antimicrobial product form signed. Okay. Did you have them sign a permission form? Product label and safety data sheet was available for customers to review? Yes, no. What's the product name? What's the EPA registered number? Who applied it? How was it applied? What PPE was worn? Dwell time required by label. Does product need to be rinsed after proper dwell time? People and pets removed from the area? Is the product a RTU, ready to use product? Yes, no. If not, what's the mixing row? How many ounces to a gallon of water? How much product was made? If not all used, how and where was the balance of the product disposed? And other special directions on the label. And then note, not to be applied in a heating, ventilation, air conditioning, or refrigeration system unless a product is registered for that specific use by federal, state regulatory authority. B, trained heating, ventilation, air conditioning, or refrigeration system technician apply it and remove its residual. That's the respiratory system of a building, folks, that HVAC system. C, the heating, ventilating, air conditioning, or refrigerant system is not operating when you apply it. And D, occupants and animals have been evacuated. Don't make any statement beyond what's on that label, guys, because risk management, Dave Dibdahl, you're really stretching your rope. And the last thing you need on that sheet, rooms were applied with, where was it applied within the structure? What rooms? Items applied to, how much applied? I'm willing to bet, I live an hour and a half from Vegas, that very few, if any, companies in this 50th anniversary do this on every job. Well, speaking with Ed, speaking with Dave Dibdahl, and seeing on Facebook that the state of Utah's agricultural department right now has 12 restoration companies under investigation for illegally applying antimicrobials in the state of Utah. Now, they're being very nice. They're not going to hit you with a fine. They just want to make sure you become legal. So what's missing from the label? It's state law. And as both Larry and Doyle alluded, I took 3 months. Guys, I have the answer as of June 5th, 2020. I want to make sure you understand that. On June 6th, 2020, the law could have changed or the rules could have changed. But at least at one point in time, I did get the answer of every state in the United States and beyond. So when I'm done with my presentation, which is going to be within a minute or two, Doyle, we're going to decide how many of these we give out free. And I will be emailing you your state's requirements. These are the 3 questions I asked. 1, does your state require any sort of licensure to apply antimicrobials if you are in the field of water damage restoration? My second question, if so, can you please send me your specific requirements that could be shared with the students when I teach in your state? And 3, with the current pandemic, the CDC, WHO, and others require cleaning followed by the application of disinfectants. Does your state require licensure for professional cleaners applying antimicrobials in the indoor environment for this use as well? Will you be surprised at the answers, folks? And some of them, just like 9/11, when a trauma hits the world, folks, sometimes the laws, people become blind to the laws. Why? Because you have a traumatic situation happening. For instance, when the towers fell in New York, was anyone doing lead and asbestos testing before they? No way. So they overlooked it. Of course, now we have a lot of mesothelioma and asbestosis happening because of that. However, when trauma comes in, sometimes they put a blind line to the laws. But as soon as the trauma is over, here come the laws back into effect. And that's some of the answers I got from the agricultural department of some of the states. So if you're not one of the lucky ones that gets one of the free, if you go to my website, Doyle, if you don't mind me doing a real quick commercial, if you go to my website, Costa Group Education, click on that kind of like mauve, tan button. They're $59. I want to recoup 3 months worth of work somehow. And I will send you the whole thing. That's how much space it takes for the entire set. Okay, it's a 6-inch binder plus with all the stuff and all. So Doyle, I think I'm right on time. This is amazing for Barry
You are
Costa to do that.
amazing, Barry.
And Doyle, I just want to congratulate you guys again. A big congratulations to you guys. And everyone that put up with me. My wife says I'm supposed to thank you all. Everybody, please stay professional, stay out of trouble, stay profitable, and make our industry proud. Make us proud, because we have to, if we look in the mirror, say, we were the reason why that reporter said it looks like a bunch of yo-yos out there picking money up because there's a chance to. Doyle, thank you again for the opportunity.
Absolutely, Barry. Listen, couple of things. First off, Tammy produced for me, when I get in trouble, when I make her mad, some get out of jail free cards. And Carol is willing to accept those. So in thanks for you helping us out here today, I'll send you one of mine. All right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. And but secondly, let's give away a couple of those packages. Are you good with that?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do even better than that. How about 10? We're going to do 10 of those packages. How about that? And by the way, do you mind if I share real quick something?
Not at all.
Okay. If you live in California, Georgia, Guam, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Minnesota, Northern Mariana Islands, Montana, North Dakota, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, Puerto Rico, Tennessee, Utah, Virgin Islands, or Vermont, you might be interested in this. And if you don't, you might be interested because of a compliance officer taps you on the shoulder and says,
well,
where's your license?
The other thing I wanted to emphasize is people have a tendency to look upon the pesticide regulation and think of water damage companies. And I don't do water damage, so I don't need to worry about it. One of the things you and I talked about, Barry, that you did in your research is we talked about a carpet cleaner applying a disinfectant in the course of a day, maybe on a pet urine job. Then we talked about a janitorial cleaner applying a disinfectant to a toilet. And both of those get rolled into this regulation in many states.
They sure do. You know, it was interesting. I had someone actually email me and said, well, shouldn't even you know the law if you've been applying it? I said, well, that's the point. You should. But do you think I'm going to memorize the law of all of our states, plus the province of Canada, plus the UK and Australia and New Zealand? No, that's not my job. It's your job to know the laws. But you now have a resource to get the information, and be happy to share it with you. So yeah, let's do 10, let's do 10 of them, Doyle. I want to go all the way to 10. I'm excited for HydraMaster's 50th.
Awfully generous of you. In the interest of time, what we'll do is, Barry, why don't you send us 10 numbers between 1 and 200?
Okay.
And we will pick the winners and notify the winners immediately today so that they'll know they're getting it. And then everyone else needs to go on and get that program ordered.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you and Janelle because I am going to need a EULA form signed by them that they promise they won't sell it. They won't this, just like when you buy an electronic program. And I will get it out to them. And again, thank you very much for seeing the generosity. But this is a big congratulations to you guys. Thank you so much, Bill, for everything.
Barry, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing that fantastic information. I loved what you and Carol did. That was a great project because I've had that exact same discussion. In fact, the other day I was in Home Depot and Zepp was selling an antibacterial spray, not soap. And if you looked very carefully at it, they were doing everything they could to avoid having to register it as an EPA pesticide.
Sure.
They have EPA registered pesticides in Home Depot. You could tell they were doing everything they could to avoid having to register it, but it subliminally suggests to the customer it's going to kill the coronavirus.
Oh yeah, well listen, Clorox's marketing department did great. All you have to say is Clorox. Immediately people think disinfect. This one is, this one isn't. The Clorox name is the name of the company. It's not the product.
Exactly.
So yeah, anyway, Doyle, thank you once again.
Thank you, Barry, so much. And that's very generous of you to give 10 of those programs away. That's 10 companies that will be able to operate legally and know they're safe. All right.
Super. Doyle, thank you.
Take care, Barry. We'll see you soon.